way it's kind of been on that team, they call them team decisions, but, Brad makes the majority of decisions, and, the team doesn't say a whole lot. So
that was then. This is now.
Guess I kind of got a bit laxy-daisy, and, when I came back, wasn't hitting the gym as hard. I was still trying to practice as much as I could, but with some things on the go. But just a combination of things, just kind of let myself slip a little.
And this is The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shaped the game. I'm Dean Gemmel, and what would this show be were it not for the team shuffles that keep this time of year interesting for curling fans? The guy Team Gushue apparently can't be without. Jamie Korab, welcome back to The Curling Show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be back.
Hey, I guess you are. Hey, let's start by revisiting the conversation we had about this time last year. When you were more than blunt about your feelings on being cut by Team Gushue. Brad said he thought time would heal all wounds and you'd eventually be best of friends again, but when I asked you about that at the time, you said...
I doubt that. Best of friends after this, it's a tough pill to swallow, and, maybe someday down the road there'll be, some type of, friendship, but for the definitely immediate future and, the next season for sure, it's... There won't be much friendship. Won't be much conversation at all, if any.
So, when did your feelings start to change?
First of all, a lot of the stuff I had said last year was a lot of it was based on a lot of emotion. I was obviously a bit shocked and in a sense hurt because it's not like you're a professional athlete and there's a higher management cutting you as per se. It's your best friend, so. That's where a lot of that came from. But basically, really frustrating season for me this past year. With the Quebec team, we played a few events and just didn't get any results. Newfoundland team, same thing with us. We didn't play too bad, but we didn't quite gel as well as I thought we would, and it just ended up being a very frustrating year. And so then the idea got tossed my way about this team, and I was like, at first I said, I think it would be an amazing team, but I said, after everything that's happened, and it's only been a year, and there hadn't been a ton of talk between Brad and Mark and myself over the last 12 months. So I said, I'd be, I can't see it happening, but I'd obviously be interested, and I just kind of snowballed from there.
So who tossed that out first? Was that Ryan Fry talking?
Yeah, myself and Ryan Fry. We hung out a good bit at the Briar, and we were both down at the. Down in Duluth, Minnesota for the House of Hearts down there, their charity event. And then when I was actually in PEI for work in Charlottetown, and Ryan had sent me a message online and threw that out there, and that's why I kind of replied back and said, it would be an amazing team. We do some damage, as we were saying, but, I said, I can't see it happening this soon. So he said he'd go and check it out and talk to the guys, and, kind of came back and said that, Brad's not against it, but obviously there's a lot of things that would have to be ironed out and sorted out, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
So what were the things that had to be ironed out and sorted out?
Obviously a lot of things. There wasn't too much said in the media between Brad and myself, but, we had some conversations that weren't in the media, and just, obviously there was the reasons why I was, dropped from the team the first time. There was more to just chemistry. After the 2006 Olympics, we had won the Olympic trials in December of 2005, and we were off to the Torino Olympics. We go and we win a gold medal, and I finally felt like, okay, we finally made it. We've proven ourselves. We've won a big tournament. We've won arguably the biggest prize there is in curling. And then I guess kind of, where I thought we've made it, I was like, okay, we're here now. Things are going to come easy for us now. We're going to be able to win these games, ones that we struggled to win before. And I guess I got a bit laxy-daisy, and, when I came back, wasn't hitting the gym as hard. I was still trying to practice as much as I could, but with some things on the go. But just a combination of things, just kind of let myself slip a little. Before we went to the Olympics, or the Olympic trials the summer before, we were training, as a team 3 and 4 times a day in the off season, just training really hard, and just kind of got away from that a bit. So we talked about it, and all 4 of us made the commitment that if we're going to do this, then you got to have 4 people on the same page. It's no good for you're only as good as your weakest link, so it's no good for 3 people to be pulling the weight and one guy not. So we said, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. We're going to get back to the things we did to win the Olympics. I mean, that was one thing Ryan Fry said was that, he'd love to play with this team, if there was four of us, because he said myself, Brad, and Mark have success together. We won a World Juniors in 2001 and, lost a Brier final, lost the semis in BC at the Canada Cup and have done well at some slams. So he knew three of us had some success together, and we knew, he knows that we know what it takes to win. So that was the whole idea of, Ryan coming down and saying, let's do it right.
You've sort of been the one issuing the mea culpas, I guess, saying that maybe you didn't train as hard or whatever. And was there ever a moment when Brad says, hey, I might have screwed up and cut you a little quick?
No, we never really got into it. We just basically got into, here's the issues, basically, and, here's the things that we need to work out, and what we need to do. And we talked about it that way. We never, we kind of threw it all out on the table, literally. Like we went to, I went to Brad's house and we had a meeting and threw it out on the table. Here's what was said in the media, here's what was said out of the media. And if we're going to be past it, then we got to, as I've had about, 100 people say to me in the last week, kiss and make up, That never happened literally, but you know what I mean.
One popular theory was that you might have enjoyed the social side of curling a bit more than Brad. Is that something you discussed?
No, actually, that the thing we did discuss, and it wasn't like I was getting lectured. It was just Brad's approach, and which has been my approach as well. Like I've the first year on tour, didn't like it as much, having not being able to go out and socialize as much. But after that, I realized, for us, our budget is probably over $80,000 to travel. If you're doing 10 events, you're flying to every event you can't drive, and then your hotels and your entry fees. So, if you're spending all that money to go away and just party, I mean, if you're out and you're partying all night and you've got 3 games the next day, and you're sure you might be fine your first 2 games, but your third game you're not going to be 100%. So you're only hurting the team. So I do enjoy the social part of curling, but I approached it the last 3-4 years as same as Brad and Mark did, and that was one thing we talked about. Going away curling. Brad's got a wife and kid now, and if he'd rather go and spend time with us on the road and not with his family, I mean, there's a problem there. So obviously he wants to go away and win, and I mean, going away and curling, it's not a job, but it's like a job.
Right.
We want to go away, we want to get points, we want to qualify for the Olympics, and I mean, you can also win some money. So I mean, I've got no intentions of going away and party, and if we get knocked out of a spiel early and we don't have a spiel the next weekend, then sure. But all 4 of us are on the same page here. We're just focused. We want to go away and do well.
I think that's like most guys out there. You got to pick your spots a bit, don't you, with the social side of things?
Oh, for sure. I mean, but curling's kind of the old school method is you go away and you party the whole time, and there are some teams that do that, but those teams are successful as well. Like that's what works for them. But we just we can't afford to be going away and partying and partying and then having to get up at 9 a.m. to play. I'd rather wake up. I'd rather wake up and be good and refreshed and be 100% to play versus having a bit of a headache.
Hey, last year you said that you didn't think there were problems between you and Chris Schille, but if Chris wasn't being replaced by Ryan Fry, do you think we'd be having this conversation?
How do you mean?
Without CTRS points are at stake, having the three back, and
yep.
and whether you and Chris, I don't know how well you got along.
Oh, myself and Chris, we actually got along really well. We roomed together. When the decision came down, when I got let go the first time, I obviously blamed a lot of it on Brad, but he is, a strong personality in that team, but, it was a team decision. But actually, I never really started talking with Brad and Mark really until provincials. I had a few chats with Brad there, but, a month before that, I was actually chatting with Schille. So me and him actually, even before, long before I started talking to Brad and Mark, we were chatting. So, no issues there whatsoever with Chris. I found Chris was a great guy. We had a ton of fun together.
You mentioned playing in the ASHM World Curling Tour with Pierre and Pierre Charette and Guy Hemmings, and playing with Mark Noseworthy in Newfoundland. Were those results, was that sort of a dose of reality for you?
Yeah, I thought that both teams, I thought we would have done better. With Guy, we didn't play that bad when I played with Guy. Guy practiced a ton. I had a lot of talks with Guy, and he was like, there's hardly many people that have practiced more than he had for the first 3 months of the season, but just missing shots. Like if we had to be T-line, if we could have been top 4 or back 4, we'd be right in between and be T-lines. So that we just missed so many shots He didn't play that bad. Guy, I thought, actually threw the rock pretty well, as shaky as he is when he comes out. He threw a lot of good rocks and just didn't get results. If we had a shot for two, something would happen. We'd tick off something and give up a steal or two. It was just one of those years. And the Newfoundland team, the years we struggled a bit to start the year off, and we started to come around a bit at the end. But in the end, I guess for our team, it came down to execution. So it was a bit of in a sense, a bit of a reality check. I don't know if all four people on all the teams were on the same page or had the same goals. We all wanted to get to the Brier, but that was it. We tried it out. It didn't work as well as we wanted to. But I'm obviously still really good friends with all the guys.
Hey, last year you said you were shocked when you were cut. I certainly doubt that Dave Noftel was shocked when he learned that he was out of the picture. His struggles were pretty obvious this season. Did you ever feel at all sorry for him?
I know Dave really well. He's a great guy. Me and Dave are a lot alike. So there was times throughout the season I didn't really see how the guys were doing on the road or the results or anything. Like in terms of individuals, I knew how the team was doing. But at the Brier, Dave did struggle a little. There is a lot of pressure. There's pressure playing in the Brier, and B, there's pressure when you're coming into a team Team Gushue. You're coming in, and there's a lot of expected of you, and you're playing on some pretty big levels. So and Dave struggled a bit. He didn't play terrible. He played some good games, but just a few areas here and there. And I wish Dave all the best next year. I think he's already got his team set for next year. So I had a chat with Dave after the Brier, and Dave's a good bit after the Brier, and he said I'm still I still feel I got a lot left to give. So he said I'm going to be back playing next year. And he said to me, I'll be gunning for you. I don't know who you're playing, but he said, but I'll be gunning for you. So, no, Dave's a great guy. And
so he knew, though, after the Brier that he wasn't going to be in the picture the next year?
I don't know if he knew then or not. Whether he was planning on quitting or the guys were planning on, going another route with the team lineup. I don't know if he knew then or not, but, Dave was obviously, I guess a little frustrated in his play. But, he just said regardless next year, whether he's with Brad, I think is what he was referring to, whether he was with Brad or whether he was with a different team. He wasn't planning on hanging up the boots anytime soon.
Yeah, he came into a tough spot because it was easy to compare him directly to your performance. He was the one new piece, and I think a lot of people questioned Brad's decision when he cut you, so it was easy to put the spotlight on his play, and he struggled.
Yeah, and if you come in and do well, it's like the quarterback at the Grey Cup last year. I forget the guy's name for the Blue Bombers. If you come in and you do well, you're a hero. If you come in and don't do well, then, that's the end of that. But I didn't mind him not doing well because I'm a Rough Riders fan, so.
There you go. Hey, finally, what do you make of one part of the fallout from the Gushue reshuffle? Kevin Park joining forces with Jeff Stoughton.
I actually heard that this morning. I was talking to Brad earlier today, and he had mentioned that to me. So, that's interesting, Gary. Kevin Park is, a lot of people on tour have said, he's one of the best shooters there is on tour.
He's the curler's curler.
What's that?
He's the curler's curler.
He is. He throws a great rock. He's got a great slide. So I definitely think he's a good fit there as third. So it'll be interesting to see how curling's a big game of chemistry and personalities, and so if those guys can get along, then I think they're gonna do really well.
My take is that both your teams just got stronger.
In a sense, yeah. We got Ryan. You got to go like Ryan third, who's a great third. Coming down for us now and, playing second. And, he'll be sweeping, I'm not sure how the lineup's looking now. I would think that Ryan would possibly be holding the broom for Brad shots, or it could still be Mark. We haven't ironed out the fine details of everything yet.
Yeah, you guys, with Mark and Chris, you guys went back and forth on that, who held the broom, didn't you?
Yeah, we went back and forth. Curling's the type of game where, back in the day, your lead through lead rocks, your second through second, your third through third, and your skip held the broom through the last rock and did all that. It's all changed a little now. When in 2003 we played, and we had Mark Nichols holding the broom for Brad, and myself and Mark Ward were sweeping Brad's rocks. And Mark Ward has played skip and third, for probably 20 years before that, and obviously, he's a pretty good sweeper, but he wasn't as good as Mark, so we made the switch. And it worked out really well for us. That was a year then, the next year, that we lost to Jay Peachy in the quarters at the Brier. So we're basically going to look at it, and what's going to work best is it going to be Ryan in the head with Brad, or is it going to be, with myself and Mark Sweep and Brad Drox, which we had some success at the Olympics, or is it better to have Mark and Brad in the head because, Mark not necessarily knows how to deal with Brad, but they've just had such a, an understanding, and they've done it so long in the head together. And I mean, Ryan's a great sweeper anyway, so if he had to sweep 6 rocks, I guess I could give some tips and show him how to do it right,
Yeah, you could help him out there?
I could probably help him out. Yeah, he's eager to learn. So
I'm starting to think a way for an older guy to extend his career is to play lead and hold the broom when the skips throws. Doesn't have to throw the high heat all the time that young guys have to be able to throw, and doesn't have to sweep 6 rocks. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Well, that's more or less what Pierre did this year.
Right. Well, he called the game, didn't he, and threw lead rocks?
Yeah, Pierre called the game and held lead rocks. So that's how we worked it this year. So no, definitely, it is a way you can do it until they bring the stick in as a legal throwing device, which I don't think will happen. But
well, anyways, for guys in their mid-40s looking to extend their careers and they're not skipping, I think that's the role.
Oh, definitely could work. Get a bunch of young guys, and away you go.
Hey, okay, Jamie, we end with the run back. I give you a topic, you give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words.
All right.
Kerry Burtnick cutting Dan Kamerlock.
I was shocked, actually.
You were shocked?
I was.
What sheet were you watching?
What's that?
What sheet were you watching? I thought he was going to get cut halfway through some of the games he was playing.
I was at the Briar. I didn't watch much of it, but I was there. So.
Even at the players, I thought they looked pretty miserable on the ice, to be honest.
No, I knew there might have been some things happening there, but I didn't know if it was going to be a player change or what. But no, I didn't see it coming. No.
And possibly adding Don Walchuk.
Yes, I heard that was a possibility. Wally's a great shooter, so I think it'd be positive.
Back to the future there.
What's that?
Back to the future with that team.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Chris Schilly calling Newfoundlanders who criticized Brad Gushue stupid.
1 to 3 words, that probably wasn't smart. Newfoundland take their own like no other, and in a sense, we've been, picked on and put down our entire lives. That's the, how a lot of people look at it. So, there's no doubt that, I know what Chris was probably trying to say. It just came out the wrong way. Yeah,
you're probably right. He didn't handle it in the savvy way that he might a few years from now. But anyways,
I think the point he was trying to get across was that Brad, and the guys have done a lot for Newfoundland, which I feel they have. I guess myself included, and not I guess to my own horn, but with the curling and things like that. So I think that was the point he was trying to get across, and I guess it was trying to get some people to not be so hard on him, but it just came out wrong, and people weren't overly happy with it.
Hey, the home province of the curler you can't stand losing to.
The home province of the curler I can't stand losing to?
Right.
I'd say Ontario.
Okay, we'll figure out who that is. And finally, Chris Schilly or Charlie Thomas, who should skip?
I think starting off it probably should be Charlie, just with the, starting off maybe Chris throwing third. Chris can throw the heat as good as anybody. Charlie's had some success. I shouldn't say some success. He's had a lot of success at the junior level, and then coming in, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for Charlie to throw him. I
think I'm with you on that. I think that would be the good way to start for those guys anyways. But who am I to say? But finally, Jamie, I usually let everybody name their sponsors. I don't know who you're going to name yet, but if you have anybody, let me know.
Well, for next year, I guess the teams we have on board is Chester Da. They've been a sponsor of Brad now. I think this will be their 8th or 9th year. And IOC, the International Art Company Canada, they are on board as well. And we're currently looking for sponsors. So if anyone's listening that wants to sponsor 4 handsome young men, 3 from the Rock and 1 from the Flatlands, they can. It's not hard to find us.
All right, Jamie. Thanks for your time. Good luck next year. It's good to see you back out there.
Good to see you back. And the curler that I hate losing against is Mike Harris. I don't think I've ever beaten him. So you can.
There you go, Mike Harris.
Mike, I will beat you at some point. Trust me.
Wow. Who knew Mike Harris was undefeated against you?
I think he's about 8-0 against me.
All right. See you, Jamie. Take care.
Take care.
That's Jamie Korab on The Curling Show. Diehard fans should know there's already been a conversation with Jeff Stoughton. That interview should be posted by the end of the week. Thanks for listening. Here's, appropriately enough, Crossing Oceans of Time from Black Pudding.
Don't you know it's hard for me to see things that I cannot find? How can I tell if it's a dream?
in my mind.